Okay, today we're going to talk about how to get the most out of one of these, a Line 6 Pod Go. A lot of people have talked about different ways to do this, hacked presets that give you a couple of extra blocks, whatnot. But my favorite approach to this is pretty simple. Don't use drive blocks. There are other ways to get all the gain you need. I'm going to go over 3 different approaches to that idea. First one, go the old school route. So this would be just running your amp as gainy as you need it, and then using the volume control on the guitar. Use this to get all the shades of gain and clean that you need, and then use the tone knob for additional tone shaping. So I'll show you an example of me doing this with the Tweed Deluxe amp in the Pod Go. This sounds certainly not for everybody, but it'll show you the range that you can pull out of just an amp block and your volume control. No foot switching, no anything. If you're going this route, not every amp is going to work equally well, and you want to pick something that gets as much gain as you would possibly need while also cleaning up as much as you would want. I think the Tweed amps are great for this. Other amps I've had success with this include the Matchless Channel 2 and the Marshall Plexi models. Option number 2, foot switchable gain. So this is simple. Just map a foot switch to the gain on the amp. And maybe if that creates too big of a volume jump, map it to the master volume as well and compensate accordingly. So this simulates a transparent overdrive and might be all you need. To do this, you need an amp that sounds good both at clean settings and at distorted settings. The amps that I mentioned in the previous section all fit this criteria. Another great one is the Derailed Ingrid. Surprisingly enough, this gainy amp sounds good clean as long as the drive is under 1. It gets voxy or matchlessy in that range, and then it starts to sound like a beautiful distorted amp once that gain control comes back up. Option number 3, use the EQ as a boost. So this can be combined with the other 2 approaches, or it can be used on an amp that's set relatively clean to push it into overdrive. The great thing about this is the tweakability and the fact that it doesn't take up another gain block. So if you put the EQ in front of the amp and you just want a flat boost, great, push the level. But also, if you want something more tube screamery, just set the EQ with the bass down, the mids up, and then set the level and treble to taste. Or if there's some other sound you're looking for, if you want a scooped sound, you can do that too. So the EQ might be the most flexible of the options. You can try this in front of any amp. I think it works best if the amp is at least on the edge of breakup, and this can also work great in front of very distorted amps in order to provide you with a completely different sound, or maybe even get you into fuzz territory while still avoiding using any drive blocks. I hope that these tips and examples have been helpful, and maybe this will help you get more out of your Podgo.